Previously, Tyr headed off on his own to the mayor's house to try and go through the town records. Despite his best attempts, he wasn't able to get past the guard/secretary, and while he initially was able to at least get them to agree to expedite the process, he kept talking. It went as well as you might expect. Threats may have been made. Meanwhile, the rest of the group split up with the plan of wandering around town with Detect Magic up to see if everyone was affected by the compulsion they'd discovered. They quickly realized that anyone of age who'd been in town long enough to qualify to vote and run for mayor seemed to have the magical aura around them. Those who were relatively new to town or underage didn't. Even those who didn't live in town proper but were still eligible to run for mayor, such as farmers, seemed to be affected. Adria and Eversong spoke to an older couple in the marketplace, Joshua and Aaron, and were able to find out some information about the town's history. Syl's father, William, was mayor for about 20 years before he retired and was replaced by Syl 15 years prior. A woman named Arona was the last one to run against Syl, and she tried several times before stopping after the election 8 years earlier. He'd run unopposed since then. Meanwhile, at the Velvet Petal, Kess quickly noticed that Madame Waterfall didn't have any magical aura around her. When they commented on it, she pulled them into her office and explained that she had an amulet that protected her from outside magic like that. She kept quiet about the fact that Sarah Brew used magic to keep her husband's job secure, and in return, the mayor let her run her business the way she saw fit. They'd gotten lazy about it, not putting up the spells until just a few days before the election rather than weeks in advance as they had in the past. She wasn't particularly interested in having to deal with the paperwork that would come from running the town, but she asked that Kess let her know who they planned on putting in power if their group decided to stage a coup. Everyone headed back to Eversong and Tyr's room at the inn, where they filled each other in on what they discovered. They made tentative plans to remove the bind magic from someone, have them run for mayor, and then dismantle the office and set up a council to replace it. During their talk, someone knocked on the door. When they opened it, they found a human woman there. It was Arona, the woman who'd last run against Syl for mayor. Aaron and Joshua apparently hadn't kept quiet about their talk earlier. Arona explained that the first time she ran against Syl, he won easily, mostly because he was taking over for his ill father, so he got a lot of sympathy votes. The second time, she came very close to beating him. The third, Sarah came to her beforehand and tried to convince her not to run against Syl. She refused, and like magic, everyone in town turned against her. Rumors spread, customers stopped coming to her bakery, and she lost everything. She couldn't run for mayor with all that happening, and nobody had run against Syl since. She then joined in the conversation, making some suggestions about who would work for the council they were suggesting. They decided that Isaac should try to convince his mother to let Kess remove the magic from her. She reluctantly agreed, and as soon as she realized that Sarah Brew had used magic to control what she did or didn't do, she immediately decided that she would run for mayor. Everyone met up at the Velvet Petal, where it was decided that Leandra would run for mayor with full support from Waterfall, who wanted to be on the council. They made plans to make an announcement in the marketplace the next morning. In the words of Leverage, "We're gonna steal an election." And that's where we left off.